What's up, Pirates? It's Ray Talks here, back with another video, and today we have a top 32 Zoro deck list from Gen Con Online Regional. This is Abraham Nares. He got 32nd place for the online regional and booked his ticket for the national finals. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what his deck is, what it consists of, what he's missing, what you guys think is good, what you guys think is bad. You guys can let me know all of that in the comments down below. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started here.
Alright, so to start, I got 4 EZO. Pretty standard package. I mean, if you don't run EZO, you either got the Nami package, but I think running EZO just for the 5-drop Marco is just going to be vital pretty much in every matchup, so having the EZOs to search out the 5-drop Marco is pretty important. We got the 4 Buggy, pretty standard as well here. Search out the events. I got the event package as well. Especially when you run into the mirror and stuff like Law, trying to find those fire fists is very important. So being able to have 2 searchable ways to find them is going to be huge. And then of course you got the other searcher here, Curly. She's pretty much, I think, one of the best cards in the game, especially for red, because you can drop this and then grab one of these 1-drops, play that, and you're getting 2 card value for pretty much 1 card. So it's pretty insane. And then moving on to more of the 1-drops here, we got 4 Machina. Again, pretty standard, just to buff up some of these weenie units that you might want to swing with. We got 4 Otama. She's really good, just not only for the 2K counter, but also being able to combo with Fire Fist and things like that. So I think 4 of is mandatory if you're not running other effects that might minus character's power. We're only running 2 Magras. I think this card's good, but I think running too many might make your deck a little too small sometimes, especially with the deck list I'm trying to run. So just having the rush options are good, but I still don't want to bank on all the Mogs here, so that's why we only run 2. And then we got 1 Gordon. Obviously this Gordon's insane. I just feel like running too many can break your hand up, so that's why it's only a 1 of in my deck. We got 2 Vistas. 2 Vistas I like, especially for the mirror and against Law, just to be able to keep the board state in your favor, because usually that's how you're going to end up winning those matchups. So pretty simple there. Then we go 4 Jozu, obviously searchable off EZO, and another 2K counter. And then we got 4 5-drop Marcos. Of course, obviously we're going to be running the 4 5-drops. This card's insane. If you run into the mirror, into Whitebeard, or even into Law, this card's going to pretty much win you the game. So as long as you can find 1 or 2, you're pretty much set up to go for game every time. We're running 1 blocker Marco. I still think this card's insane, especially against decks where it might get towards the later stage of the game and you might be versing yellow or something where they don't really have removal, but they're going to be swinging with their 10 mom. This card's absolutely insane for that. We got 1 4-drop Brook. Specifically, this card is for the Whitebeard matchup. Whitebeard has a hard time dealing with this Brook, especially because they don't run too much removal like the other decks, red decks. So being able to have this on turn 2, it really just slows them down a little bit and then makes them think about what they want to do. Because if not, I'll be popping stuff with Fire Fist and things like that. We run a 1 of Luffy here. Again, we're not running Zoros in this deck, so I chose to opt in for the Luffy. Just more for like go for game and things like that. Because if they run blockers, if you're running black against black, this card's insane because you could just get through blockers. They'll usually counter out, keep their blockers up, and then you could just swing with this for game. So pretty insane. We got the 1 of Whitebeard. I think this card's insane against other matchups. I mean, you might not see much use of it for like the mirror and stuff like that, but it still can be helpful when you do see it. So just having it in there as a tech card is still pretty good. Of course, 1 of Radbeam. You gotta have that in there. We got 3 guard points only, and then we're running a Red Hawk. So instead of running 4 guards, we go 1 Red Hawk, 3 guards. So those are our defensive kind of events here. And then we're running 3 Fire Fist, and then we got 2 pistol. I feel like 3 Fire Fists is more than enough. You'll usually find it, especially like I was saying. We have 2 searchable ways to find it, so I think the issue is not finding them anymore, even if you have 3. I feel like you'll see it at least 1 of in the matchups you need it, so
Yeah,
I think
100%.
that's enough. And then we run 2 jet pistols. The jet pistols are more honestly for the decks that are like blue and just have a lot of 6K bodies. Even yellow, it might see some use because they run like Baron Tomago or even Opera and stuff like that. So just having a way to be able to pop them so you can have your board state still in a good way because you need to be able to rush yellow down. And then we got two Fiery Doll. This card, I think won me, I think 2 or 3 games. Like it was coming down to the last turn, and I'd leave 2 Dawn up, and they wouldn't expect it, and then I'd just pop a Fiery Dawn, swing for 10 with lead, and then they just wouldn't have the counter. So I think this card's insane. And if you're lucky enough to find it in like the last trigger, you can get a minus 10K off the trigger, which is also crazy. So gotta have those, and then we just run one of Diablo Jamble. This card I didn't see too much use for, but even if you don't have use for it, depending like on what matchup you're playing, you can always just use it as discard fodder with Fire Fist, or even for your 5 drop Marcos. So it's still nice to have just in case. But yeah, overall this list is insane. It was my first time trying it at the regionals actually. So shout out to Clyde because this is pretty much his list. But yeah, it was my first time trying it, and I couldn't like expect more out of it. Especially
Okay, yeah.
I took the 3 drop Zoros out, so
Clyde ends up winning the Treasure Cup in person at Gen Con, and then so you just seen that, took his list, and then
yep,
see
exactly.
how you were
Yeah,
gonna do
because
with
I've
it.
never been super like amped on building decks, but I definitely just wanted to try it out because I've always ran the Zoros, but I thought it was interesting that he just opted to take those out and play more of a like defensive style. And
Okay.
it worked out for sure. I was able to like control games a lot easier.
Nice. All right. And then just a
Yeah.
couple questions here. So what do you think is the easiest matchup going into Zoro? So as you as a Zoro player, what do you feel is like the easiest matchup for you?
I feel personally it's gonna be Law at this moment. Just because of the fact that we have so many options to like shut their their game plan down.
Okay.
So being able to Fire Fist now, and since I run the Vistas and the 5 drop Marcos all play into that,
Yeah.
they have a really hard time being able to shamble. So I think that matchup is pretty favored for the Zoro right now.
Okay. And then what about hardest matchup? So what do you think is
Um,
the hardest matchup currently for Zoro?
I would put Whitebeard up there, even though he's still like a little weaker. I still feel like Whitebeard matchup is super like coin tossy, and if Whitebeard sees his cards, he's gonna do good, and then most of the time he will, just because he's drawing so much out of life as well. Um, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like I have trouble with Whitebeard the most. I definitely need to practice the matchup more. I versed 3 Whitebeards in the cup, or I mean the regionals, and I beat 2 of them. But yeah, I lost to one. I think I misplayed a little bit, but yeah, that matchup is still really tough.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for showing off your list. I hope you
Yeah, of
do
course.
great in, all your upcoming tournaments.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, guys. That is going to be the end for this video here. Just go ahead and take a look at a quick Zoro deck list that did get top 32 at the online Gen Con regionals. This is Ray Talks with Awaken TCG. Make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. We upload daily. I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.